Microphone. Can you hear me without the microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because when I get that, then for some reason I get quieter. So I'm gonna try without the microphone. And then yell at me. Just yell at me if I get too quiet. Okay, first, went over a lot of the political prisoners that are still being held. And so far it looks like most of you already know. Like, how many of you know the Bundys? Majority of you. How many of you know my dad? Lavoy Finicum, in case you're wondering. How about the Hammonds? And how about Joe Robertson? That makes me really happy. All those men, like, they all have like this grandpa and they were like a dad figure. Like, one was obviously my dad. And then I look at like Cliven, and I look at Joe, and I look at Dwight Hammond's the older one, right? Dwight's the dad, okay. I look at them and my heart aches. Because they're like, because I see my grandpa in them. And my grandpa's a good guy, you know, trying to raise his family, has a ranch, trying to do things, and I just, when I see them, I'm like, that could have just as easily been my grandpa. And we're supposed to be living in a free country, and all these things that they are in prison for, like, if we were constitutional, they would be free right now, carrying on their lives, raising their families, doing what they're supposed to do. How many of you right now own something? Like own a car, land, a house, motorcycle, whatever? Okay, how many of you really own that? Are you sure? If you don't pay your fees, how long are you gonna keep it? If you don't pay your property tax, how long are you gonna keep your land? We're not free. And the worst part is, we would all rather, okay, no, let me rephrase that. The worst part is that many of us are more comfortable being slaves as long as we have our TV, our sports teams, or whatever else distracts us, our TV programs, whatever it is. As long as we have that, we're comfortable being slaves. Being free doesn't give you the freedom to do whatever the heck you want. If you do that, you'll lose it. Being free gives you the privilege to do what you ought to do. And what you ought to do is know what keeps you free. Like, so many times I go across and I hear people say, well, our school systems aren't teaching our children. Okay, they're not, but whose responsibility is it to teach our children? So if our children are lacking, that isn't the school system's fault. Yeah, do I wish they would teach it? Yeah, but that's our responsibility as parents and grandparents to make sure our children know. And before we can teach our children, we have to know. You know, a while back, somebody asked me, they're like, do you know how many articles are in the Constitution? And I'm like, a lot? There's 7. There's 7 of them. And that's not a lot. It's not a lot. So after that, I started studying a lot more because I realized how inadequate I was to share my dad's message. Watching my dad's videos is hard. It's not something I enjoy doing very much because I see so much of him that I miss. But I know I need to because he's teaching me. Thankfully, I was raised with someone who taught me over and over and over again. We'd come home for the holidays and my dad would be like, all right, everyone into the living room. And we were teenagers again, dragging our feet like, again, Dad, like, seriously, can't we play games or just hang out and have fun? It's like, no, this is important. So after a 2-hour discussion, mostly one-sided, but sometimes we gotta, say something, we would go off and go play. I have been content to support my dad from the background. I'd come home, okay, Dad, what's going on? Oh, okay, now I'm gonna go put my head in the sand, but I support you, super proud of you, keep going. My dad stood for me. He stood for my children. As parents, we should be doing that. My dad is no longer here to stand for me or my children. It is now my job. It is my husband's job. I hear people tell me, I would have been there, but I had children. I would have been there, but I had a job. I would have done something, but X, Y, and Z. It is because you have children that you should have been there. It is because you want to keep your livelihood to support yourself and those under your care that you should be doing something. You can lose it all. My dad lost it all. He had 11 children, 19 born and 3 on the way, and 2 additional ones he didn't even know about. My dad never met that little guy. I was coming home to see him soon. Well, actually he was coming to see me in January, down in Texas. But, and many of you will wonder, well, is the price worth it? The price is steep. I don't want to lose my dad. More importantly, I didn't want my children to lose out on the opportunity to have such an awesome grandpa. He was so good with them. He loved them to pieces. He would take them out up the hills to go away from the parents to go, roast marshmallows and spoil them. Come home, tell the parents, they got all their food groups, the milk, the grains, or whatever, and it's like they had s'mores. There was nothing healthy, but, he would do that with his grandkids. People call him a terrorist or militant, and I'm like, the most militant I really saw my dad get was when he would teach his girls self-defense. And he was, he was all for it. He was a good man who stood. And he died. Is that the worst thing in the world that could have happened? No. Is it tragic? Yes. But what would have been worse was him deciding not to stand because he has children. And then, years down the road when he can't do anything anymore because he's either passed away or because he's too old, we would have looked up to him and been like, Dad, why didn't you stand? Because the chains of slavery are tightening. And if we don't do something now, our children will feel them so tightly that they will look up to us with resentment. I can't tell you personally where you need to stand. I am still figuring out that for myself. But the thing that you have to do to find out where to start is you have to educate yourself. When's the last time you guys have read the Constitution from front to back? I'll tell you something. It wasn't until after my dad passed away that I even read the Constitution from front to back. That's terrible. I feel embarrassed to admit that to you guys because I had such a wonderful father who taught me, and yet I still didn't. How many of you have children you try to tell them, hey, do you see what's going on in our country? And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. You're kind of, crazy. Keep teaching them, because you never know when something might happen where they're like, it clicks. It took watching my dad get murdered in Oregon for it to finally click where I'm like, I have to do something. I hope that your children don't need something like that. I hope that we don't have to have a civil war. I was able to walk the battlefield grounds of Gettysburg. It was so hard to realize that Americans on both sides were doing what they thought they should do. They were standing on principle, they were being obedient to what they felt was right, and they slaughtered each other. I don't want to see that happen. I've already lost my dad. I don't want to lose anybody else. The only way I could have been hurt more is if it had been my children or my husband. They could not have hurt me more. I don't want that for anyone. I don't want the Hammonds to be in prison any longer than they have to. I want Ryan and Hammond and all those in Nevada to come home to their babies. Their children are missing out on a father. I at least had mine to grow up with. They don't. They don't even get it, like, they get those crappy TVs where they get to see them through it, maybe, as long as they're not in solitary or whatever for some bogus reason. But if we let it get swept under the rug, this will become the norm. And if you don't stand up now for them, there won't be anyone left to stand up for you. We were created to be free. Every one of us is meant to be free. But you have to take the responsibility and put in the work to be free. It's not easy, it's a lot of work, which is why most of us would rather be slaves. Because at least we have our masters to tell us what to do and we get to just live life. So if you want to be free, let's step up. And all of you here today have obviously been making steps. You came out here, you could have been doing something else. You could have had so many other things to do on a Saturday afternoon, but you're here. So thank you to each and every one of you that are here. Thank you to all those who are listening and who are taking time to learn. Do you guys have any questions? What?
What are your plans for the future? As far as,
what are my plans for the future?
As far as future rounds.
So I'm learning to do this. I was raised to not speak unless you were spoken to, so this is out of my comfort zone. But I've been lucky with a husband that watches these 4 Liggins that I can do this for about 6 months out of the year. 6 months he has to work, 6 months we can do this. So in February, coming back around and doing this again. And I plan on doing it until, I don't know, the rest of forever. I guess you can't stop once. I think about it, I'm like, when will I stop? And I'm like, well, maybe when the Bundys are freed from Nevada. I'm like, well, no, because we're still fighting my dad's wrongful death suit. I'm like, well, maybe after we win that, because we are going to win it. Just putting that out there. Like, so, maybe after that I'll stop. But the thing is, it seems to be after we win something, we get complacent. Like I saw after we got the not guilty verdict in Oregon, so many people would be like, we won. And then, we didn't win. We had a major victory, but we still have so many battles ahead of us. And the thing is, freedom, to be free, you have constant upkeep. So I'm going to be doing it for probably the rest of my life. Eternal vigilance, that's a wonderful phrase, eternal vigilance. And it's worth it, because when I die, I will know that I have done everything possible to give my children the free world they deserve. Oh, yeah, thank you. My mom would have gone after me. Thank you, Leanna. Okay, so in January, we're doing the 1-year event up in Oregon. It's not just a, I guess, anniversary memorial. It's a teaching event, just like my dad would like it. We have like Kristen Hall. No, Michelle Fiore is not. We have one of the lawyers. Okay, go online. Is it Mumford? I want to say it's Mumford, but I wasn't positive. So I believe it's Mumford. And then there's that cool cowboy guy. His last name's L-O-O-S, Loss. He's a huge rancher, land advocate. But we have, I think, like 8 speakers that are all going to be talking. Oh, Glenn Palmer. And it's going to be pure educational. There will be, like, my family will be there. My mom might say a few words and you can meet us afterwards, but it's the event my dad wasn't able to make. And it's going to be people that can teach what he was going to teach. So if you guys can get there, I suggest carpooling. It's a long ways from this side of the world.
Let me ask you this. So you come back through here in February. We come back here, we can have more time to set something up. This was extremely short notice.
It was extreme. Like, everyone's like, can we have more time next time? I'm like, yeah, this was all last second. It was, yeah, come back down.
Awesome.
This is the first time in South Carolina.
Yeah, it'd be great. You set up a lot nicer.
I love it. Oh, I love this setting. I'm okay with this. Yeah, so I'll keep in touch with you, Chow. We'll set it up. But the thing is, between now come back in February, you guys should all have done something in the middle of that. Because it's communities, jobs, to educate each other and find that network. Because I can only come, you know, once every couple months, if that. So do something as a community, figure out something and start educating yourselves and your friends, family. Any other questions for you? Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. Be awesome. Oh, something my mom wanted to say, if you haven't already heard, we're announcing the wrongful death suit for my dad, January 5th. But my mom has been, if you've been trying to communicate with her and can't get a hold of her, she is, last week I believe, she started her lawsuit against the BLM. So ever since my dad passed away, they have been harassing her nonstop, evading the lawyers. Their illegal regulations, the ones that would be in favor for my mom, they completely ignore. And so she has that she's fighting with, and then come January she'll be starting the wrongful death. So she's pretty crazy busy. Keep her in your prayers. She's a remarkable woman and she needs all the divine help she can get at this point.
The rest of your family out doing the same stuff?
So all of my family, we kind of do what we can. I know my oldest sister Tara, she does a lot and she has wonderful PowerPoints that are very educational. She's kind of more tied to the West Coast with her family. And then depending if there's an event close to one of my siblings, they'll go out and speak. But a lot of them, in the last 4 months, I think we have 4 new grandbabies. So they've been putting their families first and doing what they can. And I've been spoiled because if it honestly wasn't for that guy, I wouldn't be able to come out this far east. So I'm grateful for him. It's awesome. Keep him around. But anything else? If you want, we can socialize in a lot less formal setting now, because I'm going to get...
Before I get back, I want to say something else.
Yeah. You want to come up? Say it. Okay, because I will gladly give you the floor.